January 1945. Minus 20 degrees. Snow up to your waist. Hundreds of the biggest, baddest tanks ever built are slugging it out south of Kielce, Poland, in a 5-day apocalypse nobody ever talks about. Tigers, King Tigers, Panthers, Elefants, getting absolutely shredded by a Red Army avalanche of T-34s and monster YSU-152 beast killers. Tanks are drowning in rivers, blowing up at point-blank range, crews fighting with pistols when the ammo runs dry. It's the most dramatic tank battle you've literally never heard of. Bigger drama than Prokhorovka. More heavy iron lost than the Bulge. And it's been buried for 80 years. Buckle up. This one's wild. Picture this. It's January 1945. The Third Reich is on life support, and Marshal Konev is about to drop the hammer with one of the fastest, most brutal offensives of the entire war. The Vistula Oder Smash. The original plan was straight up nuts. Blast across Poland, hit the Oder River, and then, no pause, no refit, roll straight into Berlin by February 23rd for the Red Army's birthday party. Yeah, they were that confident. On January 12th, Konev's First Ukrainian Front, over 1 million men and more than 3,000 tanks and assault guns, kicks off from the Baranov-Sandomierz bridgehead. 10 days later, they're already on the Oder in German Silesia. They take Krakow in a blink, blow past Czestochowa. It's a freaking blitzkrieg in reverse. But right in the path of this Soviet steamroller, south of the city of Kielce, around the little towns of Chmielnik and Morawica, there's one German unit that refuses to just roll over and die. The 24th Panzer Corps, commanded by General Walther Nehring. This guy is a legend, one of the actual fathers of the Panzer Force, same generation as Guderian, just quieter and way less of a glory hound. Nehring's corps is stacked. 16th and 17th Panzer Divisions, pieces of the 20th Panzer Grenadier Division, the 424th Heavy Tank Battalion running over 50 Tigers, both Mark I and the monster King Tigers, plus a company of Elefants, those insane 70-ton tank destroyers everybody was terrified of in 1943, and a bunch of assault gun brigades. This is late-war German quality on steroids. On the other side, General Dmitry Lelyushenko's Soviet 4th Tank Army. 2 corps loaded with T-34-85s, heavy IS-2 tanks, and the absolute nightmare fuel ISU-152s, the Germans nicknamed Beast Killers. One direct hit from that 152mm round, and even a King Tiger turns into modern art. Numbers? The Germans have under 500 armored vehicles total. The Soviets have a 6-to-1 advantage across the front, and locally, it's still 3 or 4 to 1. Tech edge? Gone. The days when a Panther could dance circles around T-34s are long over. So how did this disaster even happen for the Germans? 2 words: Hitler micromanagement. After the Red Army obliterated Army Group Center in the summer of '44, the Germans got paranoid about deep breakthroughs. So Hitler does 2 genius things. He keeps all the Panzer Corps on his personal leash. Army commanders can't use their reserves without Berlin's okay. He parks those reserves right behind the front line so they can counterattack instantly. Guess what happens when the biggest artillery barrage in history lands on your head and the front collapses in 48 hours? Your instant reserve is suddenly the new front line, chopped up, out of comms, and getting flanked from 3 directions at once. Nehring's beautiful corps gets hit piece by piece, sliced apart, surrounded, and turned into what the Germans called a wandering pocket. For 5 straight days, it's absolute chaos. Tigers charging through blinding snow. Ice cracking under 70-ton monsters on the Zarnanita River. Panthers disappearing under the surface. One of them sat on the bottom for decades until it got pulled out and restored. It's in a U.S. museum right now. The Soviets do what they do best in 1945. Keep the pedal on the floor heading west and let the second echelon clean up. They set up kill zones with ISU-152s and just erase anything that tries to break out. Over 50 Tigers are left smoking between Chmilnik and Tomaszów. The 424th Heavy Battalion basically ceases to exist in a week. But here's the insane part. Nehring never loses control. His corps is getting shredded. The 17th Panzer is effectively wiped out as a fighting unit, yet he keeps the remnants together, links up with the neighboring XL Panzer Corps, and they fight their way northwest through the Soviet rear like some kind of zombie formation. They cross central Poland as a rolling pocket, slip past Kielce, and actually make it back across the Oder River. Thousands of men and a handful of vehicles survive. In 1945, that's basically a miracle. The Soviets win a gigantic operational victory. But back at first, Ukrainian Front HQ, they're pissed. They had this elite German corps dead to rights and still let the remnants escape. There's literally an investigation. Who screwed up and let Nehring slip the noose? And that's why you've never heard this story. For the Soviets, it was a win with an asterisk. Embarrassing, they didn't finish the job. For the Poles, it happened in an area that became deep rear in days. No big liberation drama, no destroyed cities to remember it by. For the Germans, it's a heroic breakout story. But 1945 has way bigger tragedies on the highlight reel. Bottom line, in 5 days south of Kielce, in January 1945, more heavy tanks died in one forgotten meat grinder than in a lot of battles that have entire shelves of books. It's got everything. Desperate last stands, ice rivers swallowing panthers, king tigers charging into certain death, and one German general pulling off the escape of the winter. And almost nobody talks about it. Until now.